I heard Asia Wilson, Sha'Carri, Sabrina, Sabalenka. Oh, that's right. I didn't hear Caitlin Clark.
Let's set the stage. In a recent advertisement campaign, the brand in question, let's call them Nike for context, released a new WNBA promo immediately following a high-profile Super Bowl moment. Expectations were sky high. The ad was meant to celebrate the league's finest talents, showcasing a roster of prominent names meant to embody excellence, hustle, and the spirit of the game. Yet, as the reel rolled out, one glaring omission caught the eye of fans everywhere: the unmistakable absence of Caitlin Clark's name. To appreciate the magnitude of this oversight, we must first understand the backdrop of modern women's basketball. In today's era, the sport has surged into mainstream consciousness with unprecedented viewership, electrifying performances, and record-breaking statistics. Among all the emerging talents, Caitlin Clark has become the face of this movement. Her performances are not just exceptional, they are historic, drawing in fans from all walks of life. Her jersey sales have skyrocketed, arenas are buzzing with anticipation on game nights, and she's quickly becoming a household name for anyone who cares about the game.
That's why we don't jump for joy when Nike does one good thing. Oh, one good thing. Nike's Nike at the end of the day. There's a reason why their stock has been crap.
Now picture a scenario where a leading sports brand with a legacy of championing excellence puts together a campaign highlighting the best of the WNBA. The ad is filled with high-energy highlights, memorable catchphrases, and nods to established icons. And yet, right in the heart of it, the star player who has been instrumental in propelling the league's popularity, Caitlin Clark, is either barely visible or entirely absent. This is not just a minor oversight. It's a monumental miscalculation that leaves fans scratching their heads and questioning the brand's priorities. In the advertisement, several players were showcased. Let's walk through the roster as it was presented. The promo began with introductions of players like Asia Wilson, whom the campaign heralded as a 3-time MVP, and other key figures such as Shaq Richardson and Sabrina, names that many might recognize from their consistent contributions to the league. The narrative continued with mentions of other stars like Sabalenka, and even touched on inspiring stories about players who are steadily carving their own niche in the sport. Yet, despite this robust lineup, there was a disconcerting pattern. Every time the conversation turned to an athlete who was making waves, whether it was their record-breaking stats or their impact on elevating the league's profile, the conversation seemed to skip over one major name: Caitlin Clark.
She signed an 8-year, $28 million deal with Nike that also included her own signature shoe, which honestly, looking at it now, $28 million for 8 years is an absolute steal for this superstar.
It's as if the brand's marketing team had drawn a line in the sand and decided that despite her revolutionary impact on the game, she wasn't going to be featured in the same light as her contemporaries. Critics and fans alike were quick to notice. Social media buzzed with comments and questions. Why isn't Caitlin Clark given the recognition she deserves? And did the campaign really forget about the star who's driving women's basketball forward? These questions weren't merely rhetorical. They reflected genuine confusion and disappointment among a fan base that sees in Caitlin not only a phenomenal athlete, but a beacon for the sport's future. Let's step back and analyze this situation from a marketing perspective. It's one thing for a company to curate a campaign that highlights a roster of talented individuals. It's another entirely to inadvertently or perhaps deliberately omit the very player whose magnetic appeal has been the catalyst for the sport's current renaissance. The absence of Caitlin Clark's name in the campaign is being interpreted by many as not only a missed opportunity, but also as a strategic misfire. Consider this. When a brand with the clout of Nike chooses to showcase its golden child players, it is expected that the most marketable, the most talked about, and the most impactful names in the league will be front and center.
They're listing out the names of this. And of course, who do they ignore? The number 22 out of Indiana.
In the ad, names like Asia Wilson and Juju Watkins were given ample spotlight. For instance, Asia Wilson was lauded as Nike's top pick, a player whose performance and persona have resonated with the audience time and again. Yet when it came to Caitlin Clark, who not only commands attention on the court, but also in the arena of fan engagement, her presence was reduced to a mere whisper or an almost imperceptible cameo. The irony here cannot be overstated. Caitlin Clark is the name that has been setting records, drawing unprecedented TV ratings, and generating buzz that far outstrips many of her peers. Despite this, the marketing team behind the campaign appears to have made a choice to prioritize a narrative that excludes her. Some speculate that this might be a result of internal strategic decisions, where certain athletes are preferred due to long-standing partnerships or contracts.
Put out how they really feel about Miss Clark. Let's take a look.
You want to know what I'm selling? I'm selling greatness! Angel Wilson, 3-time.
Fast forward to today, and the comparison becomes even starker. When a brand with the clout of Nike releases a campaign that seems to treat a player of Caitlin Clark's caliber as an afterthought, it feels reminiscent of a scenario where a blockbuster movie forgets its lead actor. Imagine watching an ad where you see glimpses of other talented players, but the one person who has been capturing the imagination of millions is barely mentioned. It's like preparing a feast and leaving out the main course, the very element that would have drawn everyone to the table in the first place. Critics have drawn comparisons to similar oversights in other sports and industries. The analogy of a major league sports campaign leaving out a household name resonates because it challenges the very fundamentals of effective marketing. Successful campaigns thrive on the recognition and adoration that certain stars command, and by sidelining Caitlin Clark, Nike appears to be ignoring a critical component of its audience's passion and loyalty. Let's delve into the economic repercussions of this decision. In today's sports world, merchandise sales are a key indicator of a player's marketability. When a superstar like Caitlin Clark steps onto the court, her jersey isn't just fabric, it's a statement. Her numbers, her style, and her performance translate directly into revenue through sold-out merchandise and high-demand limited editions. The irony here is that while Nike has been busy pushing endorsements and flashy campaigns for other players, Caitlin Clark's merchandise has been selling like hotcakes. For example, even though the ad barely acknowledged her, the demand for her jerseys continues to soar. Fans who are eager to support her on and off the court have been willing to pay a premium for a piece of memorabilia that symbolizes her incredible impact. Analysts point out that the projected sales from a Caitlin Clark branded line could easily outstrip those of other players who received more airtime in the campaign. The numbers speak for themselves: record-breaking ticket sales, unprecedented viewership ratings, and a merchandise market that shows no signs of slowing down.
Childs, we got Juju Watkins, we got Sha'Carri Richardson,
Okay.
and we got Arena Sabalenka.
Champion.
Hustling is not easy, but I love it. Sabrina, I know you want it.
In fact, some experts believe that if Nike were to fully embrace her market potential, they could see a financial windfall that would eclipse previous campaigns. Yet, the current strategy seems to deliberately sideline this opportunity. By not centering their promotional efforts on the undeniable market force that is Caitlin Clark, the brand risks not only alienating fans, but also ceding ground to competitors who are ready to capitalize on every missed opportunity be happening behind the scenes. Corporate decision-making in marketing is often a complex web of data, legacy partnerships, and internal politics. Some insiders suggest that Nike's approach might stem from a desire to maintain a specific narrative, one that perhaps values long-standing relationships over the sudden emergence of a market disruptor like Caitlin Clark. It's possible that internal contractual obligations or historical biases play a role in these decisions. The company might be leaning on its established roster of athletes who have been with them for years, inadvertently sidelining newer talents whose impact is quickly becoming impossible to ignore. This isn't just about a single advertisement. It could be indicative of a broader strategy that prioritizes familiarity over innovation. Critics argue that such an approach is outdated in today's fast-paced sports environment. When a player of Caitlin Clark's magnitude emerges, the instinct should be to celebrate that moment, to pivot quickly, and align the brand with the future of the sport. Instead, the continued emphasis on the tried-and-true lineup sends a message that perhaps the decision-makers are more comfortable with the status quo than with embracing the evolution of the game.
Whole damn ad. Now, one person said, why wasn't Caitlin Clark's name said? Another person said, they don't say Caitlin Clark's name in this ad.
This internal hesitancy is further compounded by public relations missteps. The subsequent release of a congratulatory shirt, supposedly honoring Caitlin Clark for Rookie of the Year, ended up becoming a focal point of criticism, not for its intent, but for its design. Critics compared it to something hastily thrown together by an intern, rather than a product that reflects the stature of an athlete who is redefining an entire sport. To fully grasp the scope of this marketing fiasco, it's helpful to compare Nike's strategy with that of its rivals. Brands like Adidas and Under Armour have been quick to seize on emerging trends, aligning themselves with athletes who are not just performing well, but are also connecting deeply with modern audiences.